What's going on, everybody? It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. Welcome to the Monday afternoon show. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud, and much clearer than I was last night. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in for last night's sort of impromptu live stream that we did. Hello, Paladin Steve. Greetings, great old ones. We had a good time. We had a good time, and it was very just kind of uh, just sort of pick up and go as we could. Hey, Kabuki, good to see you. Ardu, Tolomicus, good to see you guys, everyone and all. So last night was a dry run for my my road show, basically. So we're gonna just jump right into it. But before I do that, let me ask you a favor. If you haven't done this already, if you have not already done so, please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. It would be super duper helpful if you would. If you haven't, it really helps when you guys subscribe to the show. YouTube is engaging in some screwy nonsense that it's out of my control. It's out of the control of of a lot of small creators, and so I'm a little frustrated by it. The best thing you can do to support the show, guys, is subscribe, put the word out there, tell people I still exist, because I live stream all the time. YouTube doesn't promote that. YouTube promotes the hell out of 10-minute videos that are slop content, people screaming about Jason Thor Hall, or reacting of some stream reactor and that sort of thing. That's what YouTube pushes. That is their current content model, and the only global push they give is when you have millions and millions and millions of subscribers. So to keep small channels relevant and referenced in YouTube's indexes is subscribe, leave a comment down below, even if it's just hi, hello, and give it a thumbs up if you like it. Yes, you're Queen Kabuki Kid today. You're the #1 commenter. I don't know what the thing with the crowns is. I don't know what they're doing of that. That's not something I control. I was on a live stream as a guest the other day, and I supered a couple of bucks, and suddenly I was #1, and somebody supered $5, and then they were #1. But I think if people aren't supering, it's just down to who's commenting the most. So I don't know. RPG Grandma, good to see you. Ardu RPG, you're rebranding your channel. Well, what are you turning to, my friend? Tell us. Don't keep us in the dark. Orbital Air, good to see you. Did I say hi, Atomic FX? Hi, Atomic FX. So one thing I do want to point out is I'm still fighting with the copyright issue. I can't change it. I don't know what's going on. I'm just being you, Kabuki, you. I'm being hit multiple times a day, every day, with monetization wax on my channel because of my song. Well, it's not my song, but that's what's going on. That's what's happening. So that's what's happening now. I am also, and this is important, I will not be here after tomorrow evening, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I will not be streaming from the Delver's Dungeon because I will be in Lake Geneva. I will be up in Lake Geneva at EGGCon. I will be attending there. Now, last night, Owlbear's not demonetizing me, Grandma. I just want to point that out. Owlbear's not demonetizing me. Runeward Gaming, good to see you. It is Summer Mountains by Bards of Greyhawk. But I'll come back around to that. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I almost certainly will not be doing anything serious stream wise on Wednesday. I may drop a couple of short videos. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I basically need to be to bed by like 7 o'clock on Sunday because I'm going to be up at like 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday to get my ass over to Chicago and get on a plane and get back to Orlando. So Sunday into Monday is not going to be a lot of fun, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are going to be a ton of fun. I have a little piece of equipment on the way, just a little cheap phone stand that I got from Amazon. I'm probably going to use that as my streaming tool. The little laptop actually worked out okay last night, but it's pretty much 480p, and it was like tiny Istrano vision for most people. Hey, Gonzalo. Sweet Loretta fine, she thought she was a cleaner, but she was another thing. I always liked the not radio cut of Get Back more than the studio cut. Like when I heard the studio, the full single release that just starts with a galloping guitar and then ends with the galloping guitar, I always thought like it was a little Hey, Jay Tyler, get back, JoJo. What did you hear about Chicago? That I will be breezing through there on Wednesday evening and Monday morning. Just like that. Is it Chicago Kabuki? Chicago Kabuki. That sounds pretty cool. But anyway, so while I'm up there, I will be doing some streams, but they're probably going to be from my phone. This thing, little quad core laptop, this little sub notebook, I will watch comments with this because you can't watch them when they're on the phone. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll just pop it open and then I'll be watching comments on this, but I'll actually be streaming on my phone, and that'll be fun. And that way I can ensure that at least one person will be watching the live streams, and that'll be great. Yeah, we're just two ships passing in the night, Kabuki. The dirt dish, but no, I'm not. Let me tell you something. I love a great many things about the Midwest. I do. Southern Wisconsin is beautiful. Hey, Ben C., thank you very much. 10 pounds. I appreciate that, brother. Usually I have to listen on catch up, but I'm crossing over your time zone tonight. Thank you, Ben C. But I really do appreciate that, brother. So yeah, I'll be able to stream in glorious 1080p with my phone, and I'll be watching comments go by on the laptop so I can keep up with you guys. But anyway, yes, you guys in the Midwest, your pizza is completely, I don't know, like I just got to go with the Jon Stewart, this is a swimming pool full of marinara sauce. I don't even know what's going on with that. Anyway, Jay Tyler jumping out with a D&D question right away. In the AD&D 2 hit chart, use a few 20s in a row, but other rolls just once. Yes, repeating 20s basically means that first 20, like you could roll a 9, and if you had 11 bonuses stacked on top of it, then you would hit. The next 20 requires a natural roll 20. It requires that your roll itself is a 20. And every successive 20 after that, a minimum roll of 20. And then when you see 21, 22, 23 higher up in the charts, a minimum of 20 and then a minimum bonus with it. So like if you hit that fourth repeating 20 and it is 21, a nat 20 is not going to get it unless you have more bonus on top of it. So that's what repeating 20s do. Take care, orbital air. Peace. Used to use the Dragon Mag crit charts. Can't get into crits for AD&D. Like them for other systems. I've said before, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay has a magnificent crit system. Like it a lot. Just don't like crits in AD&D. You're welcome, Jay. You're welcome. But anyway, thank you again for the tenor, Ben. I really do appreciate it. I like the tenor of your post. Ha 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 ha. But anyhow, so this week from Wednesday on is just gonna kind of be feet up, feet down. If you guys want me to do a little annoying selfie stick streaming, I bought a selfie stick that turns into a tripod. I can do that when I'm roaming around. I'm definitely going to do some like live from the floor stuff since I have the stick and I'll kind of be able to pan around. So I will be doing stuff like that at EGGCon. My brain almost made me say FrogCon, EGGCon. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. Now, let's talk about mail call, because this is a mail call that actually started about a month and change ago. And I want to give props where props is due. When we play first edition AD&D, I have this stick. This is a dowel. It's just a good 3 feet, 4 feet of wooden dowel. And when we're playing AD&D and we have minis out on the table, let me see, is tripod cam even going to be? Yeah, there we go. I'll point out like, okay, you're right here. The dragon's right here. You guys are trying to get into this. It's this thing. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It does the job. It does the job. On stream, yeah, I bet, Buster. On stream, warning about tripods in the 50s. On stream a couple of months ago, a guy who has been gaming with us for a really long time. He's been a kind of a fan of this channel for a long time, and he's a good guy. Am I getting blown out there? No, that's as low as that's going to go. You guys know him. He's D&D Disability, Thay and Kyle, a really good guy, commented in the middle of the stream. Now, the funny thing is, I misunderstood him. He said, I'm going to get you a new pointer. I heard him say, I'm going to get you a poignard, which is a dagger about that long, which is nice, but that would only be about that long. I'd have to lean way out. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, no, he said pointer. He's not buying me a steel arming dagger, which I would have gladly accepted also. No, what I got, and the reason it's not in the box, the reason I had to open it up right away is I got the gift from him weeks ago. The fine folks at USPS decided to break the first thing that he sent. I wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. So he contacted the seller. The seller got refunded by USPS. And then he sent me another one. And that is what I'm going to share with you guys. But as soon as I got it, I opened it and took it out and fully examined it. And given how kind of delicate it is, I wasn't going to ram it back down in one of those long triangular packages. So without further ado, this is the new Delver's Dungeon pointer. This is a handmade bone, wood, and feather arrow. This is a properly fletched arrow that will become the new Delver's Dungeon on-screen pointer. And let's see if I can get the tripod cam so you guys can now see the pointer. And yes, there is some etching on the arrowhead. I'm not sure what that symbol indicates, but this is here. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is my new on-screen pointer. This came from D and Disability, Thane Kyle, and I love it. And I'm gonna be putting this up where cats cannot get to it. But I quite like this, and this is wonderful. I think that's probably like means it's a +1 arrow. I don't know, but this is really neat. Thank you, TK. I really, really appreciate the arrow, my friend. Ooh, would it sit right here or up here? It will for now. It will for now. So there it is. It is an absolutely wonderful piece. And again, thank you, TK, for having that made up for the show. I really, really appreciate that. That's super cool. RPG Grandma says, I got to get a better tech setup at some point. Hopefully I can get the used computer you have up and running. I will be more than happy to assist any way I can from this side of the country, RPG Grandma. One thing that I can tell you is make life easier on yourself and get a Stream Deck. Even if it's just like a 4-button one. Get some kind of Stream Deck. So you can do things like quickly bring up cameras, and you can configure it to all sorts of things. You can configure a zoom, you can configure, the opening and closing credits, multiple cameras. You can go with a blank screen, and so on and etc. I have a few different hotkeys wired to mine. So I quite like it. I quite like it. My audio setup, the reason my audio setup is so weird is partially because I have a really nice mic that was given to me by Imperial Ramblings. You guys see him in the studio sometimes. And by in this, I mean, out in the chat sometimes. You don't need a mixer. I don't recommend screwing around with an XLR mic and a mixer. Just get a nice USB mic or even just a Bluetooth lavalier mic that works for you. This is overdone. It's overwrought. Cooperative Waffles, good to see you. Still running a 37706 with a 1080 Ti as your main computer. Not sure what a 37706 is, but 1080 Ti is a perfectly cromulent video card. 1080 Ti, honestly, I would bet you money that NVIDIA regrets ever releasing the 10 series. The 10 series were amazing cards. Even a 1030, even a 2 gig 1030, because back during like the nightmare days, that like double whammy combination of human malware plus Bitcoin mining, like if you got the 4th gen i7 and through like 8 gigs of RAM, and like a Dell Office computer, doubled the RAM through a GT 1030 in there, you had a respectable esports gaming machine up until like 2022. Just my opinion. Agile Monk, good to see you. 3770K. Yeah, exactly. So Yeah, you could just throw together, but you can still throw together budget parts. But the 10 series was everything from way down there at the 1030 end all the way up to like a 1080 Super. I have an 8 gig 1080 Ti. I have absolutely no reason to switch. None. I have an 8th gen 8700 non-K and 32 gigs of RAM. I really don't want to play modern slop on it. So as far as I'm concerned, I have a forever PC. And I evaluated the total parts. It's $400 worth of PC. Are they those video cards that were scooped up by the Bitcoin miners? The Bitcoin miners were going after any high-end video card they could get their hands on. Any of them. The 20 series started to drop just as human malware started to spread. And you had Bitminer bros showing up at at dawn at stores that weren't aware of what was happening and literally buying like $25,000 worth of 2060s. Nobody could get any. It's yeah, I'm going to go over today to Micro Center and get a nope, all gone. All gone. No NVIDIA cards, none. And because people had to turn to Radeons, well, those are all gone. And because now the people on a budget are seeing the budget cards go for hundreds of dollars on eBay, the ultra low end cards, the 980s, the 780s, the prices are jacking up or they're all going out the door. Ardu, this machine actually has a workstation graphics card in it. It has an RTX an RTX A4000, which is roughly equivalent of like a 3050 or 2080 or 2090. It's right in there somewhere. But honestly, I prefer it to be in this box doing the heavy lifting for streaming than swapping it with a 1080 that I've got over there. I would rather game on the 1080 because the 1080, which was given to me, by the way, is water cooled. And it is much nicer. It is much nicer for gaming than this thing. This thing will scream like a banshee and run at like 90 degrees Celsius if I game on it. I understood that reference, Daniel. Mr. Mom. Fun movie. Joe Kaufman, hello. That's excellent, Daniel. Got an important session coming up in your AD&D campaign. But the point of all this is, oh, Kabuki, that's a shame. The point of all of this is, RPG Grandma, if you need some help configuring your PC, let me know. The first dedicated streaming PC I had for the channel was an i7 2700 or yeah, wait, was it an i5 2500 or was it a 2700? I don't remember. It was a second gen iCore CPU with 16 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM or something. And then I got that fourth gen Dell. That thing just chugged along forever with a 1030 in it. And then Imperial Ramblings sent me this Xeon workstation, which is an absolute beast, but it is This is e-waste. All right. This is an X99 motherboard. This is e-waste. Just you can find hospitals and police departments and fire departments and schools and universities throwing these away. This, all the RAM you can stuff in it, and like 100 megabit connection to the web. Excellent streaming machine. $100 on 8 megs. 4 megs, $169. I have been exceptionally lucky over the years with people giving me computer hardware. Hey, Wheeling Dragon, good to see you, my dear. How are you? Rob Turner, good to see you too, folks. Just coming on in. Yeah, don't do wireless if you're going to stream. I mean, I will kind of have to, and I was last night to test it, but I think by and large, don't do wireless if you're going to stream. Rob, back in the ancient times of the 1990s, a guy gave me I used to use an Amiga computer. I was a Commodore kid. VIC-20, C64, briefly a C128, an A500 that left my house with barely a millimeter of factory silicon in it. That's not true, but it did have a bunch of upgrades. And then the last Commodore I had was an A1200 that was equally really expanded. And it was only really expanded because a dude at the time, is AD&D Combat too abstract for crits? It's too fast for crits, Cooperative Waffles. AD&D is too fast for crits. Crits slow the pace of the game down. They really do. AD&D is meant to be a fast-paced war game when you are in the combat. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Well, I try to pay it forward. I'm trying to pay it forward. I've got stuff to go to lots of people, to you, well, I'll just say a nutshell. But anyway, to get back to what I was talking about. Back in the 90s, I had a little stock Amiga computer, the last Amiga I owned, the Amiga 1200. And it was slow. I mean, by the day's standards and by Amiga standards, it was slow. And Commodore was like, they wanted you to buy a faster computer. They didn't want to sell a bunch of upgrades, but third-party companies jumped in. Yeah, that's why it's up here and it's staying up here. Other companies jumped into that void and they would sell what were called accelerator cards. They plugged into a special slot on the system bus, and they would run faster processors. They would basically take over. Now, PCs, actually, this was the thing you could get for PCs back in the day too. Now they don't bother. Now it's like you either buy a new processor or buy a new motherboard and CPU. Take care, Dungeon Minister. Congrats to the bride and groom to be. But the market was so small back in the 90s for Amiga stuff, as Commodore was dying, that to make up on small volumes, hardware companies charged a lot. And I had a very small part-time job. Out of the goodness of his heart, a dude just reached out to me one day and he's like, yeah, I've got this 33 megahertz card. You can have it. Just meet me over at so-and-so. And he gave me like It went from like, I went from a Core 2 Duo to a fourth gen 4770 in one afternoon. And I told you that story to tell you this story. It did not come with memory. It had a 72-pin SIM socket on it. When I bought a 4 meg SIM to put on it, I paid $169 for 4 megabytes of RAM. 4 megabytes of RAM. Now, in case you're math inflicted, $169 times 256. A gigabyte of RAM in, I think, 1993 would have set me back $43,000 at that price, at that retail price. $43,000. I remember seeing in an Amiga magazine, because there were certain of those accelerator cards that supported 128 meg 72-pin SIM, and those were $1,300 a piece. Yeah, a gigabyte of RAM would have been $43,000. Now let's keep this going. Let's do this. So, $256 times 169. So that's a gigabyte. I have 32 gigabytes in my PC over yonder. $1,384,448 for 32 gigs of RAM in the early 1990s. This PC with its 48 gigs of RAM, $2,076,672. And don't get me started on hard drive storage, because I had a 60 megabyte hard drive in there that I paid, I think I paid $169 for. The only computer I think at the time you could get hundreds of megabytes into was the Macintosh 2. You couldn't get it configured that way by Apple, but the data bus in the Macintosh 2 color computers did support up to 128 megabytes of RAM. But the Mac 2 came out in 88 or 87. It was basically Apple's, oh my God, Commodore has released this Amiga computer. We have to release a computer that has better sound than the Mac and full color. So the Macintosh 2 out of the box supported up to 128 megabytes of RAM at a time when 128 megabytes of RAM would have cost like $20,000. One thing that's really interesting, and this might interest you, Kabuki, a little bit. The 80s saw the creation, actually the late 1970s, but then fully on in the 80s, saw the creation of a wonderful musical instrument called the Fairlight CMI. If you've ever listened to The Art of Noise, basically any synth pop from the early 80s, or R&B or hip hop, and you've heard anything like that orchestral hit in Yes's Owner of a Lonely Heart, for just one example, that's done with a Fairlight CMI, and those were really cool computers. They had expansion slots inside so you could load longer samples and play longer samples and play more complex piece. Yes, Gonzalo, you know what I'm talking about, brother. Take care, Charles Latoro. We'll see you. Would I rather have a C64 or a Mac Cube? I would rather have a C64. I would definitely rather have a Commodore 64. I want one of those new C64 Ultimates, if I'm being completely honest. But the Fairlight CMI had expansion slots for more RAM. And at the time, in the 80s, a 256 kilobyte memory card to go in a Fairlight was a really, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I think like $400 or $500. Trevor Rabin, Daniel's been reading ahead. Good lad. So, so I was looking on eBay because I was curious, like, how much does, like, if you wanted to go buy a Fairlight CMI from the 80s, like, do those sell? Is there a second? Not to buy one. I was literally just curious about it, right? I wouldn't buy one if it was $5. Actually, I might buy it and give it to somebody who is a musician or could restore it, because most of them are literally physically falling apart these days. But I saw, and this was, I don't remember how long ago it was, years ago, but recent enough that I remember it. I had my office out here, I'll tell you that. But I looked on eBay, and lo and behold, there was a 256K RAM expansion for a Fairlight CMI. Price, I think they wanted north of $800 for it. And I just had to, where else but in vintage computing could you charge $800 for that? And this is not like somebody's project. Like, yeah, I sent off to PCBWay and I had these printed up and I made these myself, and you can do this. This was an actual memory card from a Fairlight CMI from back in the day. So everything comes around full loop. I don't think there was ever a band named No, Not Who You Expected. But this is something that I wasn't aware of. The adoption of DDR5, which is the current bleeding edge standard for memory in computers, has been slow. Namely because we're kind of hitting the point of diminishing returns, I think, but I'm wandering. Manufacturers are now going back and making DDR4 memory. There's this thing with memory where when it starts out new, it's expensive. But as more people use it and adopt it and manufacture it, the price plummets. And if you get in right in that trough, it's like, I want 128 gigs of RAM. All right, that's $89.99. But as new motherboards and new chipsets come along, that price starts to go up. As the new stuff is being adopted, that price starts to go up. There is a band called No. Well, that's great. So you hit a point where it's like, well, I've had this system, and I remember my old, I had a machine that used DDR2. I don't remember what it was. And I had 2 gigs of memory and 4 modules on it. And I wanted to max it out. I wanted to upgrade it to its full 8 gigs of RAM. And 8 gigs of RAM was so stupidly expensive in DDR2 in 4 2 gig modules. I finally bit the bullet and did it. I held on to it for another couple of years. And when I sold the thing, I sold it on eBay and I charged a pretty penny for it. And it got bought. I basically charged nothing for the motherboard and CPU. I charged for the RAM. I charged for the memory because I saw what DDR2 prices, 8 gigs and 4 modules was going for. And I was like, no, you're getting a holder for the memory I'm selling you. But anyhow, ask me AD&D questions, guys. I'm tired of talking about computers. Ask me anything Advanced Dungeons and Dragons related. Or don't. It's up to you guys. And keyboard skills have weakened. You used to be good at piano. Neat. Yeah, you know, Dragon Magazine 53 monk class opinion, please. I don't have it on this machine and I haven't looked at it. Let me see if I can find PDF of it real quick. And let's look at it. Can I get this to open or will it cause my computer to catch fire? Hey, look at that. Okay. Right there. Hopefully not some super sketchy thing. All right. So let's take a look at this. What's going on with the monk? Hey, it's the monks. Is that what you wanted, Gonzalo? How was that? Was that good? Was that a good overview? Hey, it's the monk. The only AD&D question you have right now would rile up your host. Ask. Do it, you coward. Run, coward. Beware, I live. Run. God, I love that game. What is my favorite entry in Appendix N? 3 hearts and 3 lions. Actually, no, that's not true. The Lord of the Rings. I forgot that Gary put the Tolkien in there. Even though he was trying to get away from everybody saying, hey, you just copy Tolkien. Which is better to have in a game, Barbarians or Kender? Barbarians. Easy choice. Barbarians are annoying and tough to DM. I would rather have a 5 barbarian party than game with 20 people and any one of them play a Kender. Okay. So here we go. Stephen DeHoward. Let's see. Probably the most common reaction I've heard to monks AD&D players is oh, that's a good one, Gonzalo. You know what is the underrated Monkeys classic? Going Down. Holy shit, Going Down just tears the ceiling off. Mickey Dolenz out there laying down some sick beats. Yeah, spare me, rap god. Anyway, so basically this guy's telling us a lot about monks that we're already aware of. And he gets into dividing stuff on the next page. What if those 675 low-level monks were divided into 3 separate monk organizations, each independent of the others, using the formula given in the player's handbook for determining non-player character monk alignments? This gives the 9 lawful good monk leaders 338 lower-level monks, or 37 each. The lawful neutrals 236, or 26 each, and the lawful evils 101, or 11 each. If these figures still seem too unmanageable, it is a small step to further postulate the existence of smaller factions. And honestly, Gonzalo, this is a fine approach to take. It's not really splitting things up. It's saying, hey, Dungeon Master, use the player's handbook to build your world and divide them like this. Check out the abilities. Let's see. I mean, they're talking, they're answering questions. I mean, did this guy have? Because I didn't see anything up there. I swear I'm not being obtuse. Monks are skilled in martial arts, quivering palm, resurrect, wish, tackle a few of the more frequently asked questions about monks. Why can't monks use flaming oil? What are bow sticks and joe sticks? Point me at a section, Gonzalo. It might be up. Okay. He's got a lot to kick about. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. You know what? Let me open the player's handbook and look at monks here. All right. So here's our baseline for monks. And let's go back over here. And here's our baseline for monks in he's got a lot to kick about. So here's our XP chart. Initiated the rudiments, elements, principles, brother, disciple, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at the player's handbook. Novice, initiate, brother, disciple, immaculate master, superior, blah, 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 blah. Wow, they've really ratcheted down the XP requirements for monks. Not a fan of that. Now let's look at their monk abilities versus the monk abilities. All right, so we'll just pick one. Let's just say 10th level, effective AC 3, move 24 inches, 2 attacks around, 3 to 13. A through H abilities. And let's go over here. Level 10, effective armor class 0, 20 inches. More attacks around. Basically, that's 3 attacks, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, 2 attacks. Damage is 3 to 12. What was it over here? 3 to 13. And this could be a typo in this book. I'm not having a physical player's handbook open right at the moment. And then they've got, I guess, more abilities because they start their abilities on level 1. And then they go up to U. They've got plane shift. Vacancy chances. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it kind of cakewalks the monk. Thank you, Kabuki. Safe travels to you. Have fun out there, whatever it is you're doing. Got a scare in Godbound. Party went to the demi plane at the time. Godling. Let's end the team. For D&D, which are capable of showing more collective intelligence, goblins or kobolds? They're both low. Honestly, I'd put them on the same level. What's made up a first level monk in Crom, has AC 10 and 3 hit points. No way that character lives. Throw daggers, my dude. Throw daggers and use a spear from the second rank. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, if you were like, I got to play a monk and I can only play a monk by the book, that would be my recommendation. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. Crossbow. Yeah, monks get crossbow. Throw darts, crossbow, daggers, spear from second rank. Well, it's just sometimes the nuance of conversation gets a little muddied. I don't want you to think I was just saying, Well, I mean, it's hard to get a paladin. I mean, think about it. You could start out with a paladin who also has 3 hit points. I mean, what do they get for starting equipment? 5d4 times 10. The best they're going to do for armor is maybe ringmail, so they're AC 6. They could get capped just as easily. That is one thing, Gonzalo. If you said, please, 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 I want to play a monk, please fix something. I might say, let me look here. I might either adjust the effective armor class table or allow a dex bonus for armor class. Probably go with a dex bonus for armor class. That's just not cricket that a martial artist would not get a dex bonus. And just batting away missiles and dodging and stuff like that. Not what you expected. The answer to that question is the head of Vecna. Favorite mythos from deities and demigods, Lankmar and Japanese. I mean, I know everybody wants to say Elric and Cthulhu. I mean, the Elric ones are okay, but the Cthulhu ones, it's like, okay, here's Azathoth, here's his stats, here's Cthulhu, here's Hastur, Yog-Sothoth. Oh, you're quite welcome, Gonzalo. But as far as or Arthurian is good. Yeah, the but the head of Vecna. So I'll tell you guys the head of Vecna story. Everybody knows about the hand and the eye of Vecna. Pluck out an eye, cut off a hand. And those aren't the only replace this with that body parts. You got the teeth of the Barkesh Nor or Dalvernar. The head of Vecna is great because the dungeon master started the rumor that Vecna's head could be found, and that if someone's head was cut off, you could put Vecna's head on the stump and it would grow, and then they would reawaken with Vecna's power. But it had to be done immediately. And so the DM had in a crypt somewhere that, you know, moderately guarded, just this mummified head missing an eye. The party that found it proceeded to have an argument over who was going to sever their head. And when one guy finally insisted on it, and they cut off his head, they continued to, well, why? He's dead. It's a non-issue. What? And when they said, look, if the head comes on and he comes back evil, we can kill him again. So they put the head on the bloody stump, and of course it just falls and rolls around. And they're like, we must have taken too long. And so another character was sacrificed. And again, a discussion ensues, but a shorter one. So they put the head on. And of course, it just rolls around. These guys ended up killing 3 or 4 characters, depending on who you believe in this story, to try and empower the head of Vecna. That is one of the greats. That is one of the greats. Tucker's Kobolds, Eric versus the Gazebo, the head of Vecna. At this point, yeah. Now there is a series of stories that you guys are going to have to dig for these if you want to read them. I'm not gonna launch too much into. How many grams does 1E aid? Let me see. Because now I want to know too. $800 grams. It weighs 800 grams. I hope that helps you. So there were a series of stories, and they're old enough that they originally appeared on Usenet, They're about the Union of Interdimensional Disgusting Characters, the UIDC. And they originally started out as a joke of, what if the dungeon master literally just didn't care? And they actually evolved into some pretty interesting fantasy stories, but I don't know that they were ever completed. Like I literally think the last entries in the UIDC stories were the late 90s. Oh, there you go, Daniel Rowan. The encumbrance. Well, let's find out. The encumbrance of standard items. Now, a large metal-bound book, the encumbrance in gold pieces is 200 or 20 pounds. We know this isn't that. Let me see. Oops. That is 1.76 pounds. So 1.76 pounds or 17 gold piece. I'm sorry, 1.76 pounds, 10 gold pieces to the pound. So that is 17 gold pieces. Yes. 17 gold pieces weight. Now, as far as its bulk, I would say not very, maybe just round it up and call it 20 coins of encumbrance, which isn't bad. That's what I would call it. How best to run an early game, Railroad, Sandbox, or something else. Who is playing? Are you running it for a new group? Are you running for an experienced group? If you're running for an experienced group and you're experienced as a DM, do a sandbox. Run a sandbox. Run an open world. Run a brownstone game if you feel so compelled. But an open world can also be good for new players too. Keep on the Borderlands is very sandboxy. So I would say, I will always say Keep on the Borderlands is what you should run for a new group. So do that. And it's sandboxy to a degree. It's sandboxy to a degree. If a party starts to leave the map that Gary has in the module, he tells you straight up, have a friendly talking magpie. Tell them they're going the wrong way. Literally, a bird just lands and goes, you're going the wrong way. Go back that way. And see, I think a railroad can be too much of an info dump, because you're setting up a premise that the players have to adhere to, and you have to give them the hows and the whys of what they're doing and how they're going there. So, so a railroad can be a railroad can be just as much of a sleep drug. Only copy you have a Keep on the Borderlands is Hackmaster. Oh my God. Somebody, please, somebody help Not Who You Expected out and send him a copy of Keep on the Border, a proper copy of Keep on the Borderlands as written by Gary Gygax. Please, somebody gift Not Who You Expected a copy of Keep on the Border. I am begging with you. Please send this man a copy of Keep on the Borderlands, not the Hackmaster version, not Return to, not the Into the Borderlands giant car battery sized version. Send him a copy. I didn't say send him your copy, a copy. Go on drive-through and gift it to him. Goodness gracious. So, in lieu of any questions, yeah, send him a $50 copy. In lieu of any questions, hang on a second. Not Who You Expected. Hold on. Diddly dee, diddly die. Don't know why there's rainbows in the sky. Oh, diddly die. Right here, my friend. Go here. And standard soft cover book is $12.99, or PDF and soft cover book is $15.09. PDF is $5.59. Get yourself a physical copy, my friend. I don't know what revision this is, but going by the cover art, let's see. Okay, the cover blurb does not mention compatibility with AD&D with a few with just a few changes. Let me look at the preview. There's the map. There's a little bit of info inside that goes up to page 4. Yeah, this is a slightly newer revision, but if you want to run it for AD&D, it shouldn't cost you hardly anything effort-wise to change it over. Go get it right now. It's worth your time. It's worth your money. It's the greatest D&D module ever written, my friend. I learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons with this module. Not, I got this in basic and this is how I learned how to run it. No, I learned how to play D&D. There is enough of the rules of D&D in here that you can run a session or 3. You can't advance characters. You kind of got to fake it till you make it on what spells do. But otherwise, everything you need is in this book. Everything. Yes, Errol Otis did an absolutely awesome Minotaur in the back. They changed that to something a little bit more dynamic by Bill Willingham that is equally awesome, just in a different way. So it just comes down to what you want. It is one of the best modules of all time. All right. That's going to about do it for me, guys. I got to cook dinner. I got to do a bunch of stuff. So we will be live streaming tomorrow night. We will be playing first edition AD&D right here on the channel. That kicks off at 9 p.m. Don't miss it. Wednesday, wish me luck. I will be on an airplane at this time of day. Well, hopefully I won't be on an airplane this time of day. Hopefully I'll be on the highway on my way to Lake Geneva, because I will have landed in Chicago. What level do you, first level? Well, first through third. Don't be afraid of giving them an experienced helper, like a strong second level fighter, or maybe a second level magic user who's got 2 sleep spells a day. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. I want to especially thank Ben C for the super. Thank you very much, Ben, for catching us live. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I might live stream tomorrow during the day to test out the setup that I want to use at EGGCon. So check me out for that. But so kind of keep your eyes open to see if I'm going to do that. But if you don't, keep your eyes open for that. Do yourself a favor and keep your eyes open for owl bears. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.